Hey guys, Coach Seth here doing the transition to design video for my client, Lindsay Doherty. So with the intake form, the first thing that I realized about Lindsay is that she is an advanced athlete. She has a really high training age, specifically in CrossFit. She was a trainer at one point, but even before that, she had done Orange Theory, some boot camp stuff, and bodybuilding before then. So she has been training for a long time. With the initial consultation, I would say the biggest thing that stood out to me is her lack of clarity on if she wants aesthetic, overall, we'll call it GPP goals versus performance in the sport of CrossFit goals. She seemed like she was very hesitant to dive deep into one or the other and allow one or the other to lack a little bit. So she really wants to change the way she looks. She has a little bit of excess body fat through the midsection that she wants to get rid of. She wants to look like she trains really hard in the gym every day, because she does. But she also puts a lot of pressure on herself when it comes to performance metrics, whether it's hitting PRs that she hit in the past, certain like gymnastic metrics, being able to continue to do sets of ring muscle ups or hitting Metcon times and things like that. So she would tell me that the sport doesn't matter. She's never going to be a games athlete, and she just wants to look like she works out. But then when I started talking about numbers and times, you could tell that it would obviously cause her some discomfort, because she still put some priority in that performance goal. So one of the things that I was working on with her is really, one, defining which goal is top priority, and then also teaching her how that we can blend those two things. We don't necessarily have to give up all of your performance just to look good and feel good. And we don't have to give up looking good and feeling good to optimize our performance. So learning the blend between the two, how we can go back and forth, and how we can look at training as more of a long-term thing than just I have to be peak performance all the time. So one of the cool things that we were able to talk about was the cycles of the Opex method, and being able to be okay taking a step back, building the base, and then coming to a pinnacle with her programming. For her body move and work, her in-body scan was good. She had a nice D-shaped on the weight, the muscle mass, the body fat. Again, she still does want to lose some body fat, just more for aesthetic purposes. Her numbers are in healthy ranges, so as far as health goes, she's in a good spot, but she wants to definitely trim up and have a little more aesthetics there. Her move was awesome. She moves really well. The only thing I could find was there was just a little discrepancy on the scratch test from the right to left side. Once I couldn't quite get as close, nothing major or crazy, but there was a little bit of discrepancy there. Everything else, she passed with flying colors. The work assessment, the 10-minute, we have Echo Bike, so 10-minute Echo Bike. One thing that I noticed was her pacing. She started a little bit too slow, and then she got faster towards the end. So she reserved a little bit too much in the beginning, and that was one thing through the intake form or the initial consultation that we noticed. One of her big downfalls when it comes to training is her engine. She either doesn't know how to pace things very well, or she hits the point and she crashes and burns, whether that's physically or mentally. She's a hard time finding just below the red line pace and holding on to it. So she'll either start hot and then crash, or she'll start way too low, get to the end and say, man, I should have went faster. So learning, one of the big things we're going to do in the programming is really work those map progressions and teach her repeatable pacing. So that's going to be a really cool thing. So for her long-term plan, I'm going to start her off with some initial testing, just some base numbers of some lifts and some of the sustain times, so we can get a baseline of where she is, because she's one that she likes to see the data. She likes to see measurable, repeatable progress. So we're going to start with some testing. And then we're going to go through about 3 months of accumulation, about a month and a half of an intensification phase, and then a competition phase, which is going to be our retesting. And then we'll have about a week of deload, and we'll repeat about 3 months of accumulation, another week and a half of 2 weeks of, or I'm sorry, month and a half to 2 months of some intensification, another competition or retest phase, and then another deload, and then one more round of the accumulation, intensification, and competition. So that's her long-term plan. And we're going to be starting with the MAP 9, and about every 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to decrease that MAP as we work up. For her first short-term plan, it's going to be an accumulation cycle. Her gain work is going to be mostly upper and lower body splits. We'll be focusing, Monday's going to be some cleans, front squats, vertical pulls, and core. Tuesday is going to be her sustained MAP 9 mixed modal work. Wednesday will be some snatching, bending, horizontal pushing, and core. Thursday is going to be a MAP 9 cyclical day. Friday is a squat, single leg, vertical push, and horizontal pull. Saturday will be a MAP 9, likely another mixed modal, depending on how she feels from the week, maybe cyclical. And then Sunday will be her rest day. So that'll be her first short-term plan. For the lifestyle, she's done a ton of nutrition work in the past, different coaches, different companies. She has a pretty good idea of what worked, what hasn't. So for nutrition, we're gonna follow macros. I'm gonna program those in her lifestyle, and making sure that we're hitting 75 ounces of water every day. Other than that, her sleep is good. She goes to bed, wakes up about the same time, gets a solid 7 to 9 hours every night, and all those things are in check. So for her, big focus is going to be just dialing in on the nutrition a little bit, making sure we're hitting the appropriate numbers, and making sure that we're getting adequate water every day. That is all I got. Thanks, guys.